Let's say you've gone on a vacation, and suddenly that vacation becomes the cause of death. How will you guys feel when you find out that you have been left to die in the middle of the ocean waves, where only the deep water of the sea is the swirling shadows of the sharks and only the struggle between life and death? Friends, this is not just an idea, but an accident that happened to Tom and Ellie. In this video, we try to find out what happened to these two who lost their lives. January 25th, 1998, is when Tom and Ellie embark on the most adventurous and terrifying journey of their lives. Tom was a school teacher and Ellie was a doctor. Both their lives were full of responsibilities, housework, office pressure, and future planning had filled their lives with a lot of stress. So they thought that if they go for a few days on vacation, the mind will relax. Both loved traveling and decided that a trip to the Barrier Reef would be perfect for them. The Barrier Reef in Australia is the largest coral reef system in the world, where scuba diving is an unforgettable experience. There was excitement in his heart that this trip is going to be the best experience of his life. But what did they know that it was going to be the worst nightmare of their lives? They decided that he would go scuba diving. Tom and Ellie plan a trip with the Otter Edge Scuba Diving Company to embark on this terrifying adventure. Friends, this is an activity that probably everyone wants to do, and they are given basic instructions. There were 26 people for diving, and everyone's heart was pounding at the thought of diving into the deep blue waters. But at that time, no one knew that this trip was going to be a part of terrible fate for two people. A small mistake that was only momentary, but that mistake was going to change his life forever. The first diver started and everyone got into the water. Tom and Ellie looked at each other and started their journey smiling. Both were lost in their own world where there was no concept of fear. It was his dream vacation, which was now going to be the biggest test of his life. So they never thought that it would be impossible for them to come back from diving. At the end of time, when everyone is back on the boat, the crew members start counting and give the green signal to the captain. But there was a mistake that left Tom and Ellie out of being counts. The captain of the boat thought that everyone had returned and drove the boat away. No one had realized that Tom and Ellie were still in the water. When Tom and Ellie saw their boat drifting away from them, they thought it might return in a little while. But time passed and the boat went so far that there was no hope of coming back. The effect of fear and panic was beginning to be seen on his face. By supporting each other in the middle of the water, they kept up their courage. But as time passed, their hope of escape was disappearing. The day began to fade, and the darkness of the night began to set in. Now they saw some noises in the sea which increased their fear. The fear of shocks entered their hearts, thinking that they might not have a shock attack, and this fear was adding to their fear. The deep night was cold, and the fear of sharks kept scaring them. Discussions between them were now turning into arguments. The words of encouragement to each other now changed to suspicion and accusation, but still they did not leave each other's side. The next day the sun rises and they realize that it may be too late for anyone to find out about them. So they gave a different signal as their last resort, which was a faint light in the sea, but he did not show this signal to anyone. Dehydration from drinking seawater was starting to affect their health. Fever and headache had now become their constant companions, and this struggle continued day and night. But one day Tom got so tired that he fainted. He tried to save his life, but his courage failed him. Ellie tried hard to handle it, but her own morale was weakened. One day what they both feared happened. Tom was attacked by a shark and was badly injured. He fainted trying to manage himself. Ellie also tried her last, but to no avail, and Tom gives up his life. Ellie is now left all alone in the middle of this terrible sea and tries everything possible to save herself. But finally she gets fed up and takes off her life jacket and sinks into the water. She spent the last moments of her life reminiscing about the memories she had with Tom. 2 days later, on January 27th, the guru found his bags containing all his belongings. Everyone became excited and worried, and immediately a search operation was launched. Both air and sea search teams were put to work. But Tom and Ellie's bodies were never found. In February 1908, Annie's wetsuit was found in the north of one island. The expert concluded that the weed suite had been in the water for about a month. Friends, one day Tom's personal diary is found, in which he talked about quick and peaceful death. And Ellie also wrote in her writing, that she will always be with Tom no matter what happens. Seeing all this, some experts said that perhaps he had planned his own death and had committed suicide. But in June 1998, a fashion board found his diving board and an underwater camera, as well as a slide, on which he had a message. Friends, this message was telling the story of his difficult time, but by the time this slide reached people, it was too late. After seeing all this, the investigation team rejected Tom and Ellie's society theory at the same time, and concluded that the Outer Edge Dew Company was responsible for the deaths of both of them, and his company was immediately banned. After the accident, the government introduced some safety regulations. Friends, this story is not just about Tom and Ellie. It belongs to all those who risk their lives for adventure and thrill. What Tom and Ellie endured was nothing short of a horror movie. Their stories are forever memorable and remind us of the difference between fear and hope. So friends, do you ever want to experience scuba diving? If you like our video, then subscribe our channel. So see you in the next video with a new interesting video.